Thank you, everyone, for attending today's Lunch and Learn on the end of financial year in Genie. My name is Sean Nolan, and I am the Customer Education Specialist here at Genie Solutions. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land in which we stand. For me in Brisbane, this is the Turrbal and the Yagara peoples. I would also like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Today, we are covering the end of financial year, which covers the parts of Genie that you should run to ensure your reporting is as accurate for the end of financial year. We will start with the check missing invoices report to make sure you aren't missing any unbilled appointments or procedures in your reports. Next, we will look at the check integrity report and what to do if issues are identified. There are other steps and shortcuts we will look at to ensure your reports are showing the most accurate reflection of your practice. Following this, we deep dive into the reports you may need to run for the end of financial year. We will then have a talk about some of the items that practices may need to do to ensure they start their new financial year successfully. The last few minutes will be our live questions and answers, where we will answer as many questions as we can. There is a Q&A box in the Zoom window, so I encourage you to type any questions you have during the presentation into this box. I will be joined by Alexi, the National Customer Training Manager. If we do miss your question, there is a web form on our website. We encourage you to submit your question there, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. The first report you should run before you generate any financial reports is the check missing invoices report. This is a great report as it shows you all appointments and procedures that have not been invoiced over a time period. To run this report, we first click the Appointments menu, then click Check Missing Invoices. This prompt confirms it will show all appointments and procedures without an invoice. We click OK to this prompt. Next, we put in the date period we wish to search upon. I normally recommend running this report on a Friday with the date range from the Monday that has just passed to cover your week. For this example, I'm going to do just from the beginning of May up until today. The appointments and procedures displayed here have not been invoiced. We can see at the top, there is a follow-up appointment. Double-clicking will take us to that appointment. You can see that the font color is black and that there is nothing in the invoiced column. So it is very likely not invoiced. If we go to the account history, you can see there are no invoices at all. So it definitely warrants further investigation. If we rerun this report from the Appointments menu, check missing invoices, and again we put in the same date range as before, we can see that there are several other appointments not billed, and that includes some procedures. I'm going to point out the second patient in our list is a patient whose font color is blue. Normally, we know in Genie that blue means invoiced. We double-click on this line, and you'll see in the invoice column there is a dollar amount. Let's go to the account history. We can see that there is an invoice, but the service date does not match the appointment date. Therefore, this is a missing invoice, and possibly the wrong patient was invoiced, or the wrong appointment for the correct patient. So this warrants further investigation. Before you run any financial reports, you should perform a check integrity. This is a safe step that ensures there are no inconsistencies for your financial data. An example of where your financial data might be inconsistent is if you are creating an invoice in Genie. Then you have a power outage when creating the receipt. That receipt may not have been entered into Genie correctly, so an inconsistency is possible. To run this report, we click File, then Maintenance and Reports. In the Monthly tab, We click Check Integrity. This presents the following window. We ensure all 4 options are ticked on the left. Any problems identified will be in the bottom tables. Next, we click Check Data. Depending on your practice, this could take a few minutes to an hour. We recommend running this when you do not have a busy clinic. Any problems that are reported on the right-hand side and also at the bottom left. If there was a problem account, you could safely double-click the problem account and try clicking the Update Balance. Sometimes that remedies the issue. This is an example of a check integrity with some tidying up to do. When you see a check integrity with this type of issue, if it is not double-clicking on the problem account and clicking Update Balance, we recommend contacting the Genie support team for further assistance. The best way to get in touch with them for check integrity issues is using the web form on our website. When it comes to the main reports in Genie, you should always consider if you wish to report on the invoice date or on the receipt date. Genie's reports show one or both of these, and depending which is most important to you, you should ensure your data is as accurate as possible. For where you're reporting on receipt date, it is vitally important that all outstanding receipts are done as soon as possible. This is because of the following example. You create an invoice in May 2023. A receipt for this invoice came in 2 weeks later into your bank account, but it was not yet receipted in Genie. You forgot to receipt this account. It is now 1st of July 2023, and you're running a report for July 2022 to June 2023. In August 2023, you find this payment and you receipt it with the receipt date of May 2023. This new receipt will not show in a report that is done by receipt date that was done on the 1st of July. The only way to get this new receipt showing is to receipt it for the correct date and then rerun any financial reports based on receipt date. If you are running any reports on receipt date, an often missed source of receipts are bulk bill, DVA, and Eclipse claims. In our Daily tab, bulk bill DVA transmission. If we have a look at our exceptions to review, you can see there are claims not yet receipted. This is the same for ready to receipt. If we have a look at our Eclipse section, at our exceptions to review, awaiting remittance advice, and ready to receipt sections, we can see there are claims that haven't finished being handled. So this is a cause for receipts not to be accurate in your reporting. Claims in any of these sections should be handled weekly at minimum to ensure you're not missing any payments and any exceptions are dealt with whilst the patient is still fresh in your mind. In the monthly tab of Maintenance and Reports, you will find the Unpaid Invoices report. This report shows you all invoices that have an outstanding balance and is a great report for managing your debt. It defaults to look for invoices between 30 and 60 days old. You can set your own time period or set both numbers to 0 to show all outstanding accounts. You can show all providers or click Select to choose a specific provider. I'm going to keep this as all. You can choose to show all invoices, only patient invoices, only organization invoices, just Medicare, or just DVA. I'm going to set this to all. On the right-hand side, we can choose which invoices to display. Apologies. On the right-hand side, we can choose which invoices to display. The tick box for Include Backlisted Accounts will show as red in the list. Unprinted invoices which I'll come back to, are blue. Anything done as part of a batch, including Medicare and DVA, will show as green. I'm going to tick Include Batch Accounts. This number in red is your true and accurate reflection of your outstanding invoices. Individual invoices are listed. You can double-click an invoice to open the invoice. You can reprint a highlighted invoice. You can also print a statement. If you print a statement, it will populate the date into the last sent column. The drop-down menu allows you to create a merged letter template to accompany an invoice. You can look at the account holder record for an invoice. You can also look at the account history of the account holder. This report can be exported to Excel or printed. You will see that some invoices are black in color. These are outstanding accounts that have been printed and not batched nor blacklisted. Green invoices were created as a batch, common for Medicare and DVA. If an account holder is blacklisted, it will show in red. To blacklist an account holder, you select the invoice, you click the account holder button, then you tick the blacklist button at the top right. If a staff member tries to book an appointment for a patient, an alert will appear. When they try and do so, that alert is what is in the reason box of this window. If an invoice is in blue writing, it means it is an unprinted invoice. This is commonly when the invoice is created and instead of printing, the defer button is clicked. This is technically not a debt, as it was not printed and given to the patient. These invoices should be checked in case they're a duplicate, and if it is not a duplicate, it should be printed and given to the patient. As you can see, the unpaid invoices report is the main tool available for managing your debt, with individual invoices listed and options available to action the invoices. In the Practice Analysis tab, we also find the Aged Debtors Report. This report is useful to report on your total debt at a specific point in time and is often given to accountants. You will see that there is an as of and a cutoff date. This means you can change the date to a date in the past to report on what your debt was at that point in time. In this example, I'm going to change the date to 30th of June 2023 to report on what my debt was for that date. I can choose all providers, or I can choose a specific provider. I can also include the unprinted invoices, which you may remember from the unpaid invoices report. I click OK, and this shows a total of all individuals and organizations that owe us money. I have current debt, which is less than 30 days, up to 60 days, up to 90 days, and up to 120 days, and the total amounts. I can click on an account holder and see their account history. I can view their account holder record. I can blacklist a patient and remove the blacklist. I can print for one entity, export to Excel, or print this whole report. Remember, the Aged Debtors Report is great to report on your debt, especially with time periods. Your unpaid invoices report is used to manage your debt. The next report is the Billing versus Income report. This is the main financial report Genie has and summarizes a lot of information. Often this report is given to accountants. This report is in the Practice Analysis tab, Billing versus Income report. You can choose the time period, for example, this financial year. If you wanted to choose your own time period, you need to choose Custom and then put in the dates you need. I'm going to keep this as this financial year. This shows totals by provider by default. If you want to look at an individual site of service, you can click the arrow next to the provider's name and each site of service will display. The billing column is the total of all invoices. How much GST was invoiced? How much was a credit write-off? How much was discounted? And the net billing, which is the billing minus GST, credits, and discounts. The receipts is the total amount receipted. You may remember I mentioned you should ensure your receipts are up to date before you generate a report based on a receipted amount. How much GST was receipted, and the difference, which is the net billing column minus the receipts column. A misconception is the difference column is your debt. This report is only the invoiced amount over the time period and the amounts receipted during the time period. Any invoices or receipts outside the time period are not included. You can print this report, chart this report, or export to Excel. You can print a breakdown, which is a very detailed report often used by accountants. You can print just the items invoiced for this time period, print just the receipts for the time period. So the billing versus income is a great report that summarizes your financial position. The item report tells you what items were invoiced over a period of time. You may be able to use this report for a variety of reasons. In the Practice Analysis tab, we click on Item Report. We choose our time period, for instance, this financial year. We then choose which provider we wish to report on. On the right-hand side, it shows you each item and also how many times it was invoiced. I can click on an item and click on Display Patients to see who the patient was. This report defaults to reporting by service date, but you can change it to invoice date using these buttons. You can also print this report and also export it to Excel. So there are several creative uses for the item report. Sometimes it might be the doctor wishes to know which patient a certain item number had a procedure. You might want to know how many new patients you've had in your practice, in which case you can have a look at your new consult item number. There are a variety of reasons why you might want to use the item report. The referral report is also a great report, as it tells you who was your best referrer in terms of number of referrals. It is located in the Practice Analysis tab, Referrals Report. We choose our time period, and we can choose all providers or just a single provider. We click OK. This shows all referring doctors over the time period. We can sort by total from lowest to highest, then highest to lowest. We can see Dr. Sharma was our best referrer with 5 referrals, followed by a few with 3 referrals. With the referrer highlighted, we can click Patients to see who were the patients that were referred. We can highlight multiple records and then click Address Book. To open the address book, should we want to print a letter or SMS these doctors? We can also export this report to Excel or print this report. The referral value report is very similar to the referral report, except it shows you revenue by referrer. It is also located in the Practice Analysis tab. If you have a look at the wording for referral report, it mentions Alt-click to see the referral value report. If you're on Windows, you hold down the Alt key. On a Mac, hold down the Option key. Click the referral report and release the key. You choose your time period and then you click OK. Apologies, that's gone to the wrong slide. If we click the percentage header, this will then show you the percentages sorted from lowest to highest, then highest to lowest. You can see that Dr. Sharma is still our best referrer, even by revenue. But Dr. Brave, with 3 patients compared to 5, brought in the same revenue. Again, you can click Patients to see the patients, Address Book to see the address book, so you can see when it comes to who gets a thank you card and who joins you on a boat cruise, you have to consider the revenue, not just the number. Those summarize the main financial reports you should consider running. As part of the new financial year, it is extremely important to look at updating any relevant fee schedules and update your private fees if you need to. Let's have a look at these in detail. Before you run any updates, whether they be fee schedule updates or Genie updates, it is important to take a backup in case something unexpected occurs. I'm going to show you one of the ways to take a backup. In File, we click Maintenance and Reports. We then click Server Admin window. We go to the Maintenance tab. You will see there is a last backup date. It is important to note if it was a while ago, it means your automatic Genie updates may not, Genie backups may not be working and should be investigated further. We click Start Backup. This may take a few minutes to complete, and all users will be locked out of Genie whilst the backup takes place. So plan this when no access to Genie from anyone is required. Once the backup completes, you should see the last backup date and time change. This is a successful backup, and you're safe to continue fee schedule updates. With the new financial year, it is likely there'll be Medicare, DVA, and health fund fee updates. It should be a monthly task to check for updates for all practices, but there is a higher likelihood a fee schedule update will be released in the new financial year than any other time. Before updating your fees, you should ensure you're up to date with your invoicing, as the fee schedule update will override existing fees for Medicare, DVA, and for health funds. To update fee schedules, we click on the Special menu, then Software Updates. We go to the Fee Schedules tab. This lists all fee schedules available for you to download. The Done tick box indicates if you already have the latest update. The Version column indicates which month this fee schedule is valid for. The uploaded date is when we made this fee schedule available for customers to download. We should always start with the Medicare fee schedule update, as this will bring in any new item numbers. To download the update, we tick it on the left. We then click Install one item at the bottom right. We click Apply Now, then Update All, as this will bring in any new item numbers. The update will begin to download and apply. We will let this process complete. We next download any fee schedules that your practice might use. Just because an update is listed, it does not mean that your practice uses these fees. For example, you will see Bupa as well as HCF have gap, known gap, and no gap fee schedules. A lot of practices just download both fee schedules without understanding the consequences. If you're a single doctor practice, you will be registered with these health funds as either a known gap provider or a no gap provider. If you're a no gap provider, it means you should only ever invoice no gap patients for health fund claims, and you never charge patients a gap. If you're this type of practice, you download the no gap fee schedule and you leave known gap unticked. If you're a single doctor practice and you charge a combination of known gap and no gap fees, you are very likely registered with the health funds as a known gap provider. This means you should only ever download the known gap fee schedule and leave no gap unticked. Downloading both gap and no gap fee schedules in this event can result in health fund rejections, as you may be charging the incorrect rate for your no gap patients. If you're a multiple doctor practice, where some doctors are no gap only and others are a combination known gap and no gap, this is the only situation where downloading both is required. In this instance, you should have 2 health funds in Genie, depending on which fee schedule you need to download. We will go through and tick each of the fee schedules we wish to download on the left-hand side. Once done, we click the Install Items button at the bottom right. The fee schedules will then download and apply to all the relevant health funds. The AHSA fee schedule update can take longer than other health funds because of just how many health funds fall under this banner. If, whilst downloading a fee schedule update, you receive the following prompt. It means that there is no health fund in Genie that exactly matches the name of the fee schedule you're trying to download. You should choose the closest match in the list. If there is no health fund that resembles the one you're trying to download, it means there is an issue with your health fund configuration, or it is not a fund that you use, and you should contact the Genie support team through the web form on our website for further assistance. With the new financial year, you may need to update your private fees. To do this, we click Open, then Billing Items. This shows all item numbers saved in Genie. We click the magnifying glass and search for the item number we wish to update. We click OK. We double-click on the item, and on the right-hand side in black or pink are your private fees with their name. To update a fee, you click once on the fee itself. You wait a second, then click again. You type in the new fee, then click somewhere else to save the fee. Repeat for any other fees you wish to update. We then save out of this window. We click the magnifying glass, and we search for our next item. We repeat exactly the same process from here.